For me, it was a relief. I don't think it really mattered who scored the goal. I would have had the same reaction. And then after the relief kind of kicks in, it's excitement. You realize you won such a prestigious tournament, and the names that have won that tournament and the people that have been on those teams to win it reinstills that it's a step in the right direction.
Welcome to another episode of Game Tape with Tony. As always, I'm your host, Tony Ferrari, and today I'm pleased to be joined by Malcolm Spence. How you doing today, bud?
Good. How about you, Tony?
Not too bad. Be good to sit down with you, get to know you a little bit. So let's start with where you started in hockey. Who got you into the game? How old were you, and when did you start playing?
Yeah, so I started skating probably when I was around 2 or 3 years old. My uncle Ryan and my late papa Ron, they got me into it. And they both played D1 hockey at Niagara University, Northern Michigan, and Colgate. So they got me into the game, and kind of since then just fell in love with it.
Now, you mentioned your Uncle Ryan there. He coached you a little bit when you were younger. What kind of advice has he given you? Because he played D1 hockey, like you said, and then he went on to play in a few leagues after that.
Obviously, we have a great relationship. I see him quite often. He watches the games all the time. We obviously play different games. He's a defenseman and more of a stay at home, and I'm obviously a forward that's a little more skilled, I'd like to say. He probably won't be too happy about that, but I think it's the reality. And for him, it was just always trying to get me to understand the work ethic that goes into it because it's a hard sport to be really good at, obviously, and there's only so many jobs in the National Hockey Leagues.
You've represented Canada a number of times. You scored the OT winner to win the Hlinka Gretzky Cup for Canada. You were a key part of that U18 team that won gold last year. What is it like to be such a relied upon person and for Hockey Canada at your age group? And what's it like putting on that jersey every time?
It's just an honor to represent your country. Obviously, it's the highest level for your age group. It starts with the work ethic and the leadership you show off the ice. I think they do a really good job understanding the type of people that they're picking for the teams as well. I think there's a huge aspect of you can just pick the best players, but if you don't have the best group of guys as well to do the jobs on and off the ice, I think that's a huge part of it. So I was lucky enough to wear an A at Worlds as well. And me and the leadership group obviously led that team to win in the end. So I think it's kind of reinstilling off the ice even more of the type of people that you are so then they can trust you on the ice.
Let's go back to that Hlinka Gretzky Cup final game for just a second. You score the overtime winner. It was a great goal. You came flying down the ice. What was going through your mind when you scored that goal, knowing you just won gold for your country?
I think for me it was a relief. Basically 4 periods of hockey, and I don't think it really mattered who scored the goal. Like I think I would have had the same reaction if anyone else scored. It was just a relief, and then after the relief kind of kicks in, it's excitement. You realize you won such a prestigious tournament, and the names that have won that tournament and the people that have been on those teams to win it reinstills that it's a step in the right direction.
You recently played in the CHL USA Prospect Challenge, and that was an interesting event because you were teamed back up with Michael Misa, who you played with prior to the OHL, and Will Moore was on the other team, another one of your teammates. So, what was it like, kind of getting back into things with Misa, and then going up against a guy that you played with for a few years?
I haven't played in a hockey game with Will Moore ever since that OHL Cup final win. So definitely a little weird to see him in a USA jersey. And on the other side, obviously, I've been keeping up with how he's doing and talking to him when I can, and likewise for him. So it was pretty cool to kind of see the kids you've grown up playing with get in the right direction and doing big things, and to see how well he's doing. It's great to see, obviously. And then I see Mike more on a regular day basis. He's in the league and he's in the Western Conference. So we play him 4 times a year, and we're pretty close buddies off the ice. So it's nice to be able to be on his side rather than play against him.
You've worked with Hockey Equality and Anthony Stewart to help kind of make hockey a little bit more accessible for BIPOC youth around Toronto and the surrounding areas. Can you talk about the work you've done with them, and why you've enjoyed it so much?
It's great to see what they've done, and I think some of the players that are helping out doing that, example, Wayne Simmons and guys like that, they did that for me. So I'm obviously gonna do the same thing for the younger generation. And I think if you ask any of the other guys, if you ask Kayshawn Atchison, if you ask Zane Parekh, if you ask any of those guys, they're going to do the exact same thing because it's hockey courtesy. We want guys to play. We want guys to play the sport, and we want everyone to realize that it's for everyone. It's not just, doesn't matter the type of skin color you are, race, doesn't matter anything. That it's just a game for everyone. So it's really nice to see that Stewie and Shantae have kind of given us this platform that we can give back to the community and give back to all these kids that want to play this game that we all love.
Before we get to the game tape section, give the audience a little bit of a self-scouting report, maybe some things you're really good at and maybe an area you'd like to improve.
Skating is one of my tools I like to use on the ice all over, and I think my complete game has built some noise around my name, and I think there's a lot of skilled guys, and I think there's a lot of guys that are defensive as well and have that capability. I don't think there's a lot of guys that have both. You watch these Four Nations games, and it's just these guys obviously are really skilled at their clubs, but they're also really good defensively, and I think that's what it takes to be a long time NHL player, and that's what I want to be at the end of the day. So for improvement, just want to be consistent. I think in everything you do, you want to be consistent in your work ethic. You want to be consistent in anything. So just making sure that my whole life is consistent is kind of what I want to continue to do and continue to strive to get better in.
The first clip I've got for you is a fun clip because it shows off your forechecking ability and it's that relentlessness that you talked about in your game. The Spitfires have it deep in their own zone here, and then you just kind of get on the defender, be a bit annoying to him, get that puck back, and then just a nice pass to the slot for the assist. Talk to me about a play like this and what you're seeing on a play.
A few of their guys went to change, and I noticed that there's only one D-man alone and the rest changed, and then fresh guys were kind of coming on the ice, so I know it was going to be a little bit of a scramble. So I realized that if I forecheck them hard, that my line mates were coming on for the change as well, so they'll be able to kind of skate into the puck and have a good opportunity to score. So if I can get a turnover here, that it'd be really crucial. So luckily enough, Alfie got a chance to put that in the back of the net.
Forechecking is a really important thing, especially at the next level, and it's something that not all junior players have. So what was it that kind of clicked in your game that eventually made you the kind of forechecker that you are?
There's a lot of guys that are good with the puck, but it's how you get the puck and what you're going to do when you do get it. So I think for me, it's when I'm at my best, it's not waiting around for guys to do it for me. I got to be a dog on a bone. I think that's what makes some players so great, especially like you watch those Kachuk brothers in the NHL. Like they don't wait for anything. That's kind of what I strive to be in, creating stuff for myself and creating stuff for my line mates and just trying to be a person that can make everyone around me better.
Watching your games this year, this was one of my favorite plays I've seen, especially because it's a secondary assist, and those aren't something I normally showcase, but that cheeky little pass in the neutral zone there, just through your legs. What goes through your mind on a play like this, and what are you seeing on a play where you're going to make a pass between your legs, even though that could eventually result in a bad play for your team if you don't make it properly?
I think all it is confidence. My first year, I probably wouldn't make that play because you're thinking about the bad outcome. But if you're thinking about the bad outcome, then you already screwed yourself over. You want to think about what's going to happen that's good. Took a shoulder check. I know where he's coming, and I know he's far enough away that he can't really blow me up. I'll have enough time to make that play, and their D jumped up, so I'll have a small window. And I know Pano's coming through with speed, and it's going to be on his forehand because he's a right-hand center. So I knew that if I could make that play, that it would probably turn into a 2-on-1. So I just made the quick little play.
You've talked about blending your skill and using that relentless nature that you have. What goes into the skill side of your game? Because obviously the relentlessness, the motor, all of that's just hard work. The skill is something that I don't think people see the work that you have to put into to find. So what is it that you do specifically to kind of develop that side of your game?
Countless hours of repetition, and I've grown up with always having a shooting gallery in my garage or in my basement. Even when you're just kind of sitting around the house and it's a random Sunday and you're not doing much. Growing up, I would just go into the garage and shoot hundreds of pucks and just think of case scenarios. I think every kid talks about when they played mini six and they're thinking about scoring the Stanley Cup Game 7 goal. That's fun to me. I love having a stick in my hand and puck on my stick and doing things to make plays and stuff like that. So I think it's just the act of what can you do today to get better. I think that's what makes you have access to the skill. I think there's parts of the game where you can use obviously video and those types of tools as you get older, especially when you're younger. The skill kind of starts there when you're not doing much or any day, every day. Even just shooting pucks or stick handling or anything you can do to just kind of stay around the game and keep with it and just try to improve.
This next clip I've got for you is a really nice goal. It comes off a face-off play. Puck gets worked over to you. You evade a defender or two, and then you just see a free lane to the net and you make a nice dash towards it with a nice little backhand to finish there. Talk to me about what you're seeing on this play once you get the puck off the face-off here.
Carey did a great job winning that draw back. And when the puck came back, it came in a little slow, so I knew I had to kind of corral around it because I'll have someone coming at me right away, so I can puck protect. So doing that while moving a little bit low, it caused confusion, so it gave me a lane to the net. And when I saw that little kind of mini breakaway there, all I had to do was raise it over the goalie's glove. So just getting under it and being able to put it in a spot you can score, I think that's what goal scoring is. Half the time it's just getting it off quick, and then other time it's being accurate. The goalies are so good now, and they're so big, and their angles are so good that you got to be a lot of time pinpoint accurate to put these pucks in. So just realizing my lane and realizing where I got to put it to be successful.
This next play, it starts in the defensive zone. It's kind of a chaotic play. The puck goes off of you high in the zone. Things get down the ice. You win the race for the puck. The goalie gets there and shoots it off of you, and then things kind of just break into chaos. Talk to me about what you're seeing in this play starting in the defensive zone, and then what kind of goes on as you're approaching that goalie who's getting the puck.
starts in the D zone and just a miscommunication by their team in the past. I know the speed that I have, and it's a risky play when a goalie comes out. And luckily, I throw a little bit of a head fake and act like I'm on the left, and then I quickly switch over to the right where I know he's going to shoot. Once it hits me, I realize that I'm probably not in the best case scenario to get a shot off here, but I know I have layers coming in. So you can see in the video, I bat it out of the air and put it on Alfie's tape, and then Alfie throws it at the net, and Pano luckily gets the rebound.
Hockey's a chaotic game. Things don't always go the picture perfect tic-tac-toe play. What is your mindset when things do break down like that? Are you just trying to get the puck to the middle of the ice, or is there like a default play you like to try to make?
It's chaos all the time. I think there's so many parts of the game where it's kind of all over the place. Guys are running around, and I think staying sound and realizing and trusting what you work on in practice with your coaches, and trusting the systems that are put in place. And I think it's more of a trust that everyone is doing their job. I think a lot of times on defensive breakdowns in hockey, it's one guy gets beat, and then it's a lot of other people trying to do people's jobs. And I think having the will to realize that, hey, that guy's going to do his job, and then that you just got to hold up to your end of the bargain. You got to do your job. And then once you do that, then kind of everything else starts to fall into place. And I think that's why some of the teams that win so much in any sport or anything in life are the people that have that kind of communication with their teammates that, hey, I'm going to do my thing, you're going to do yours, and then we're both going to have a good outcome in the end because we're both doing our jobs.
This clip is a fun one. You get the puck here in the defensive zone. You go end to end. You evade a couple defenders here with a couple of nice dekes. You cut wide and then back in. You crash the net, and then things get chaotic, as we just talked about. So talk to me about a play like this, what you're seeing, the lanes that you're seeing develop as defenders kind of try to cut you off one way or the other.
It's a controlled breakout, and I came around with some speed coming through, and there's a few guys that are going to kind of be in my way, and if I can beat the first guy, I believe in myself that I can kind of beat everyone else after that. So I'm able to throw a nice head fake and get them off balance, and then after that, using my speed, using my strength, using my athleticism to find a way to get to the net and come inside and then come out and drive the net and give Royston an opportunity to kind of just bang it home. I obviously tried to put it in the first time, but I couldn't, and I just took everyone with me, created some space for Royce to just kind of put it in the net. So lucky enough that we could bury that.
All right, so if I hit shuffle on your playlist, who's a couple guys that pop up?
Drake, Pharrell Williams, really into Jack Johnson, really into Coldplay. Love their music. And then for Christmas, I got tickets to SZA and Kendrick Lamar. I'm not the biggest Kendrick Lamar fan. I like his music. There's a lot of stuff going on there. I'm just going to leave it at that. So I'm excited to kind of see that in concert in the summer.
I'm also going to the Kendrick show, the one in Detroit.
Oh, awesome.
Like you said, let's leave it at that.
Just leave it at that. But yeah, excited to see SZA and him in concerts.
Do you have a comfort TV show or something that you watch just to kind of pass some time?
Modern Family. Love that show. I think the whole cast is hilarious, so I watched that. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. My parents showed me that. That was a show when a little older than me, but that, and then Friends. I love the cast there, and obviously some great characters in that show, so probably that.
I'm sure you've spoken to NHL scouts at this point, but if they asked you why should we draft you, what's your answer going to be?
I think you have a lot of players that have a lot of skill and a lot of speed, and the reason why a team should draft me is because I have those attributes, but I think it's the type of person I am. I think there's a reason why I wore a letter in Erie at 17. There's a reason why I wore a letter at Hockey Canada. It's because of the type of person I am. I'm never not going to say hi to you when you come to the rink. I have a good relationship with all my teammates. I make conscious effort to do that, and anyone who knows me would agree, and it's just the type of person I am. I think there's a lot of great hockey players, but I think to win, you want to have good people in the room to do that. And I think that's the type of group that I've always been a part of.
When your hockey career is over, hopefully 25 years from now, what do you want people to remember about Malcolm Spence, the person?
I just want to be remembered as the guy that anyone can pick up the phone and call. I'm the type of guy that 25 years from now, like you said, that if I knew you when I was 18, that we could still go up for a cup of coffee or go and kind of do whatever and catch up. I'm not talking to you because of convenience. I'm talking because I genuinely care. And I think that's one of the most important things in life is not so much if you're a good hockey player, if you're a good soccer player, if you're a smart guy, like whatever. It's just the type of person you are. You want to be remembered as that, as being a kind person. And that's kind of the values that have been instilled in me when I was a kid. And I'm going to continue that forever.
All right, Malcolm, I really appreciate you doing this. It was a lot of fun to break everything down. So good luck the rest of the way. And hopefully your name gets called pretty early on draft day.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Tony.